All right, welcome everyone to the American Nightmare Podcast, episode number 29, recorded on August 27th, 2020.
Oh.
All right, let us get started with horror news.
Isn't it all horror these days?
You know, it's one of those things where I posted on Facebook the episode of Rick and Morty where they get into the spaceship and they have nervous breakdowns.
Oh,
And
yeah, that's a great one.
I can't believe it. We're still alive. I don't ever want to do this again. That's how I feel every day of 2020.
Yeah, it's a horror show. It really is.
All right. First story. Netflix Stranger Things season 4 is going to be starting this fall.
Oh, nice.
October-ish.
Yes.
Last season?
No. As a matter of fact, they've hinted that there will be a season 5 and a season 6.
Oh,
Wow.
Jesus, really?
Right. And that's what I told my daughter. My daughter was all excited. I said, first of all, I don't even want to see season 4. Like, why can't they just stop it at season 3? Why do they gotta milk the cow until the teat is dry?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's upsetting.
These kids are going to be wearing those like 70s style like gym shorts. Like
no, they film them back to back to back to back to back. Yeah,
I hope so.
Yeah.
All right. Netflix has announced another new show called Project Power. It's kind of a mix of sci-fi, comic book, and horror. Really, the underlying story here is that there is a drug on the street where you can take this pill and it will give you superpowers for 5 minutes.
Oh, just 5 minutes.
Yes, but the superpowers are unknown. They're determined by your DNA, and some of them just kill you instantly.
Oh, wow.
Oh, damn.
It's like Russian roulette.
I don't know if I do that.
Yeah, I would probably pass. All right. Mike Flanagan has been teasing a new series on Netflix called Midnight Mass. The only thing we know about it right now, according to the story, is that Mike Flanagan, he was busy with Dr. Sleep recently, which we reviewed last month. Fantastic movie. Has been teasing the filming of a new show that he just started called Midnight Mass. It's pretty much largely under wraps. There's no real details, but the brief synopsis that he gave recently in a story was it's an isolated island community that experiences miraculous events and some frightening omens after the arrival of a charismatic, mysterious young priest.
Interesting.
Yeah. All right. Another Netflix series by, again, Michael Flanagan, The Haunting of Bly Manor. This is the follow-up to The Haunting of Hill House.
Oh, yeah. They finally have a release date for that?
Yes, they do. They are saying this is going to be, let me see if I can find the release date here. I don't see it. This is what we have is, so this is going to be on Netflix probably this fall. There is a poster and a couple screenshots that Mike Flanagan has posted to his Twitter and Instagram accounts showing that they have rehired some of the actors from The Haunting of Hill House.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
Yeah, so this should be interesting.
Maybe the people who posed as ghosts.
Yeah. Well, I kind of figured, how are they going to make it into a second season of that? And, of course, that's not what's happening. It's more like a American Horror Story type anthology series.
Yep.
Okay. John Carpenter has recently teased that he's working with Blumhouse on the early stages of developing a reboot of The Thing.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Another one?
Yeah. So John Carpenter basically said, you know what? He had the opportunity to redo The Thing with some new scripts, some new special effects. And Blumhouse is going to be financially supporting him in this effort. So they've begun the process of writing. This was announced this year's online edition of the Fantasia International Film Festival up in Canada. John Carpenter was awarded a Lifetime Achievement Award, and during that time he discussed the facts that he's working on this with Blumhouse. He said he had a direct conversation with Jason Blum, who's going to help produce this directly.
You know, I'm not one of those dudes who like poo-poos remakes, because I'm willing to give everything a chance. There's been some really good remakes of classics, and then there's been some bad ones. But Black Christmas that Blumhouse did still sits bad in my mouth.
Yes.
So The Thing is one of my like probably top 10 all time. I'm optimistic but hesitant to be excited.
I feel the same, but I was pleasantly surprised by the last movie that turned out to be a prequel.
Yeah.
I didn't
pretty good.
The CGI effects.
No.
But the movie was largely very good.
Yeah, I agree.
Did you just hear that, Chris?
Yeah, I was like, whoa, that's crazy.
There's a big strike of lightning there, Sal.
Yeah, it was weird because I heard it like in the headset, besides hearing it out my window.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. I miss thunderstorms. Haven't had one in over a year because here they don't really have that many in Southern California.
No.
Are you getting a lot of smoke?
No, I can see smoke from my apartment looking north,
but it's not blowing.
It's not blowing in this direction, and that's the fire that is just north of Los Angeles.
Yeah.
I'm not seeing, the big fires, which are in Northern California, are pretty far away.
Okay. I know it's a big state, but I wasn't sure. I know that some of the smoke is drifting over into other states and causing some problems. But
yeah, it's blowing over east. They're getting a lot of smoke.
Not for them.
Yeah. Trivia Pursuit has announced the Horror Ultimate Edition. Now, in 2018,
I saw that.
Trivia Pursuit did release a horror version, but this year they released the Ultimate Edition that has some game pieces in it that are horror themed, along with a whole lot more of questions.
It's only $45 too. I thought it would be more.
Yeah, it looks pretty nice. It's a nice collector's edition.
Yeah, I thought it looked good too. The only thing is, like, I would be able to play with you guys probably, but other than that, there's not anybody that I know that knows
win
enough
all the time.
Like we could play it on like Zoom or something.
Be boring winning all the time, right?
Yeah, that's the only thing. Like, it looks great, and I'd love to get it, but it's gonna sit in my closet.
Yep.
You can play with me, I guess.
Yeah, I don't think the wife and kids want to sit down with me and play that.
Right. Besides, you'd wind up crushing everybody, and nobody would have the answers. Stranger Things, the drive-into experience, is going to be running through LA October through December.
You gonna go to it?
I got my tickets. Yes.
Nice.
Friday, December 11th at 7:45 p.m. is my time slot. It's going to be a little event here. It looks a concept that lets you drive into the world of Hawkins and unlock the secrets of the Upside Down. It's going to run through starting October 27th straight through to the end of December. The duration is about an hour long, and it's going to be located in central downtown Los Angeles. You have to be age 13 or older. And they also offer a VIP package. But the thing about that is tickets are $59 a person, but for the VIP package, it's $170 a person.
Damn.
Yeah. I did not get the VIP package.
They're really making you reach for that level.
Yeah. This is enjoyed from the safety of your own car as you drive through this haunted experience. And it says it's going to boast impressive special effects and visual and audio effects.
Cool.
I'll fill you guys all in after I get to see it in December, so hopefully it'll be fun.
Yep.
Recently read an article here on theringer.com of it was an article about Event Horizon, because it is the 20th or anniversary of it. The article's called "Hell is Only a Word: The Enduring Terror of Event Horizon."
It was a pretty good article.
Yeah, it was a great article that talks a little bit about the loss of the 30 minutes that got cut out of the movie. There will never be a director's cut because that footage is gone.
Wow.
Yeah.
It was destroyed.
Possibly gone. There's that videotape that they still haven't looked at that supposedly has some of that footage on it.
Right. It's sad because basically what happened is there's about 30 minutes of extreme violence that they had to cut out because it was a little over the top, according to the review board that was reviewing it to give the R rating.
Yeah, one of the cool things they said in that article too was the commotion about the Titanic that caused them to have to rush the editing process. It made him cut a bunch of stuff out that he probably wouldn't have, but because the studio was so involved in that movie, they didn't realize they were thinking it was like Star Trek, but just a bit scarier.
Yeah,
and they snuck that whole hell orgy scene through them without them having any problems with it.
Yeah, it's a fantastic movie, and I will say that it's definitely something that I have pre-ordered the collector's edition at Scream Factory, so I'm just waiting for them to release it, and I think it's supposed to be in the next few months or so. We talked about it, I think, on the last episode, the fact that Scream Factory has that special edition coming out. It would have been great if it were the director's cut, but like that article mentioned, that's not really a possibility. Speaking of Scream Factory and Shout Factory, so Scream Factory, aka Shout Factory, has announced that there's a Friday the 13th Deluxe Collection Definitive. This is a collection of 16 discs, 12 movies in a very big collector's case, a very rigid slip case that you can slide each of the discs into. It comes with a bunch of extra features. There's like a limited edition poster. There's some limited edition behind the scenes DVDs. They've also remastered the first two movies in 4K. And some of the later movies, unfortunately, they didn't have original analog films anymore because of the fire that took out some of the films in storage here in California. But they did manage to do 2K scans of digital versions that they've had.
Oh, cool.
It's a very big collection. I think it's selling for like $200 or so.
Damn.
But I will say this, it looks impressive. So if you're a big fan of Friday the 13th, $159.98. It looks like it's going to ship October 13th. 12 movies, 16 discs.
Damn, that's a lot of extra stuff.
Yeah, it looks like the definitive guide is gone. The one with the poster and the lithograph is sold out. But you can still get the one with the special case. It looks like it comes with a lot of things. 4K scans of the original negatives for the first 4 movies. And then the following ones are 2K scans. There's audio commentary. There's some behind the scenes, some cut footage. Looks like the TV ads, radio ads, theatrical trailers are all collected on there. All in Blu-ray, all in glorious high definition. It really looks like if you're a big fan of the Friday the 13th movies, this is a collection you're going to want.
And we're not getting paid by them to put that out there.
No, not at all. We're just
at least I don't think we are.
I wish we were. Let's see. If we get enough listeners, I'll start reaching out to companies and try and get it.
There you go.
It's going to be a while because we're up to today we had 16 downloads of episodes, so we're not doing horrible.
Yeah? Nice.
Yeah. There's a new series coming out on HBO Max September 3rd called Raised by Wolves. I posted a trailer here on the website, so be sure to check that out. But basically, let's do the little summary here. His mother was programmed to protect everyone after Earth had been destroyed. When the big bad wolf shows up, she's the one we must trust. This is produced by Ridley Scott. It is a sci-fi horror movie that looks really impressive.
Yeah.
I haven't seen anything of it. I'll have to check the trailer out.
Yeah, the first 2 episodes are directed by Ridley Scott, and also the final episode of the season will be directed by Ridley Scott. It looks really good. The trailer simply of like a robot raising children, and then basically humans come to try and take the children away from the robot, and a whole war kind of breaks out.
Sweet.
Raised by Wolves. HBO Max. HBO Max is really cranking out some really great series. So I'm excited for this one.
Cool.
This December will premiere the new Stand miniseries by Stephen King's book, The Stand. It will be on CBS All Access only. It will premiere December 17th. I'm not happy about it being on CBS All Access. I'm starting to get irritated by all the digital services I need to sign up to now to get all the things I want. So maybe I'll have to find some way to get this without paying for
it. Yeah. At some point, I mean, they eventually like move that shit around, you know, like after I might not be able to see it when it's brand new, but like in a year or two, it'll be on some other service that I can watch it for free.
Yeah. And if I remember correctly, the original Stand series was on CBS, right?
It's been so long, but I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. And it didn't hold up. Like it did not.
They
cut
cut the shit out of it. I mean, it's hard to make that book into, you know, anything unless you really like Netflix or like Hulu, or I guess maybe even the CBS Access now, because TV doesn't follow that same structure anymore.
Yeah.
You know, you could do it on one of those streaming services and not have to worry about when the next season of like football comes and you can't show shows on Sunday nights because, you know, it's football season, or you know what I mean? Like you could just keep playing them.
So my question is, CBS All Access, are they rated R content or no? Because here's the thing, The Stand is such a great book.
Yeah.
I really want to see a great adaptation of it, but how can you if it's not rated R?
Yeah. I don't know. It's a good question. I mean, it's called All Access, so I mean, you know, and it's a paid service.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I haven't read a whole lot about it because, like you said, I'm just tired of having to like buy another service to watch good shit.
Right. I mean, thinking now, I got Netflix, I got Hulu, I got Shudder, I
Disney.
got Disney Plus, I got Amazon Prime Video, I got HBO Max. It's like I'm getting back to when I cut the cord 5 years ago instead of
tired of
$200 cable bills. Now I'm back to it now.
They figured it out.
Yeah, they're just screwing us all again. The future looks like shit, and I hate
it. Yeah. Well, there's another one too. Like, have you guys used Quibi yet?
I don't even want to.
Well, that's the thing, because I think you can only do it on your phone, right? You can't like
it's
use
designed
it on
for your phone. It's garbage. Yeah.
I do Tubi. I don't know if that's free.
No,
they have some really good low budget horror movies on it. Actually,
yeah,
there's some good ones too. Like All Hallows Eve was on there.
That's a good one.
I like that better than the Terrifier, to be honest with you. But
really, I think if you really like horror movies, Shudder is the thing you should have.
It is, and Shudder's got a lot of great original content.
I have been watching films on Shudder back to back for the past 2 weeks because there are some fucking amazing movies on there, and they're low budget, like Shudder exclusives that are just primo. They're so good.
Really?
Yeah.
I just watched Satanic Panic, and I loved it. It was so good.
I've been wanting to watch that. Like I said, I when I saw the trailer for it, it looked like something I would definitely want to watch. I haven't done it yet.
It was both gory as hell and funny. It was so good.
Cool.
That's what Jerry O'Connell does now. He just does like horror comedies.
Yeah. Well, and the fact his wife was in this one too. What's her name?
Rebecca Romaine.
Yeah, Rebecca Romaine.
Rebecca Romaine Stamos O'Connell.
Yeah. She was good in this one too. She was like the satanic priestess. It was fucking amazing. It was an amazing movie. It was very good.
Have you seen the trailer for that new one that came out? Well, I think it's just came out like last week on Hulu. I mean, not Hulu, on Shudder. It's like the the Zoom like party that they do a seance on.
Yeah, I saw the trailer for that.
That looks really good. I haven't watched it yet, but it looked. I might watch that this weekend.
I'm kind of eager to start watching Blood Machines too. The trailer looks great on that one.
Yeah, Shudder, get it.
Yeah, definitely worth getting. Definitely worth getting. We need to get them as a sponsor.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So just getting back to The Stand for a moment. So they spent 2 years making the series, and just a comment here there from the article I was reading, basically saying that Stephen King's 40-year-old masterpiece about a global pandemic would come at a very eerily relevant time.
Right. I mean, when you think of the theme of that book, it's crazy.
Yeah. But basically, they say they're very honored to retell this sprawling epic story, which is probably one of his most beloved books, and hopefully it'll be something good. And he says he can't wait to show it to the world. So,
well, that's good.
Very excited for that. There is, according to Slash Film, there is another movie being made of Stephen King's from the book called From a Buick 8. It's being adapted by director Jim Mickle. He's been announced. There's no release date as of yet, but they are working on the screenplay. Just a quick synopsis of what exactly the story is. Since 1979, the state police in Troop D in the rural Pennsylvania have kept a secret in a shed out behind the barracks. Ennis Rafferty and Curtis Wilcox answer strange calls just down the road and came back with an abandoned 1953 Buick Roadmaster. Kurt Wilcox knew old cars, and this one was just wrong. As it turned out, the Buick 8 was worse than dangerous, and the members of Troop D decided that it would be better off if the public never found out about it. Now, more than 20 years later, Curtis's son, Ned, starts hanging around the barracks and is allowed into the Troop D family. And one day he discovers the family secret, a mystery that begins to stir once more.
It's funny, I just saw it, it was his second novel.
Yep.
Christine being his first one. And It's also about a car, it sounds like, right?
Yep. So I'm very, very excited for this one.
Yeah.
That is not a book that I've read by his. I did not read that book. But I do like cars, and Christine was great, and I'm sure this one is going to be just as good.
Yep.
Netflix again. Man, we got a lot of news with Netflix. The Babysitter is back for part 2.
Awesome.
September 10th, 2 years after defeating the satanic cult led by the Babysitter, Cole's trying to forget his past and focus on surviving high school. When his old enemies unexpectedly return, Cole will be once again outsmart the forces of evil. It's funny, all the same cast members come back. They were all killed, and now they're resurrected, and they're back to get them again.
All right.
Nice.
That was a good movie. Enjoyed that.
Yes, I'm excited for that one too. And
we'll
one more
have to put
story
that on
from
our review list.
One more story for me. We have Netflix has just announced that I Am Not Okay With This has been canceled.
Oh, no.
Not see any more seasons of that.
That sucks so bad.
Yep.
I was looking forward to that one the most.
Yes.
That
Netflix
was really good.
Yes, it was fantastic. I was dying for the next season, but Netflix released a slew of things that they're canceling thanks to COVID-19 cutbacks.
Damn you, 2020.
Yep. And unfortunately, I Am Not Okay With This.
My wife watched that with me, and she enjoyed it as well.
I am not okay with this.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's like one, like I said, my wife started watching now, and she's like, oh, I like that a lot. And
yeah, it was really
fantastic.
We watched it together, and no, it sucks.
Like I said, it was a perfect start of an episode, too. I never had such a perfect start. Dear Diary.
You said that was a graphic novel. Yeah, that was a graphic novel too. You said
that's correct. That's correct. And it was planned to have multiple seasons of it because the ratings were so good. But unfortunately, they have other shows that do better, and there was time for budget cutbacks, and they cut a handful of shows that were supposed to go on for multiple seasons.
Netflix.
Yes.
Nobody asked me about this.
Well, at least it sort of ended, sort of closed.
There's such potential there.
No, I know,
Yeah.
I know.
That's a fucking bummer.
I know.
2019, the year that I wish would just end. All right. That's it for news from me. Do you guys got anything you'd like to share?
No.
Did you hear anything about that one BR on Netflix? I think that's sort of a horror too, isn't it? I don't know.
What's it called?
I think it was called One BR. I think I saw.
I don't know.
It was a Netflix. I usually try to check out Netflix stuff, but I didn't have a chance. All right.
The only thing the thing I was mentioning about Quibi before, the reason I asked about it was because the trailer that I shared on the website, The Stranger,
Yes,
looked really, really good. I really wanted to see it, and then I saw it was on Quibi. I'm like, well, what the hell's Quibi? And it looks like you can only watch it on your phone, and I'm not doing that. So, is there any way to like watch Quibi other than on your phone?
Nope.
Ugh, damn millennials.
Right. Quibi was designed to be short movies, short films, all on your phone.
It looked really good.
It does, but I refuse.
Yeah, I can't do that.
Yep, Quibi will fail. And there's already multiple articles about how poorly it's doing. So,
yeah, I mean, yeah, because those people don't have that kind of money yet.
Yeah.
That was it for me. I didn't have a whole lot this time. You covered a lot too.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it looks like just Cracked.com has a great article that says, so far, Quibi is absolute trash. How did it crash so quickly? So basically, this is the crazy thing about Quibi. You got to you read the Atlantic article, right? Didn't we talk about this last month?
I don't think so.
There was an article in the Atlantic about Quibi back in April that called Quibi a vast wasteland. But basically, it has financial issues. It has legal issues. It is a startup designed to fail.
Damn. Maybe someone will buy those properties then.
Yeah, even Fortune magazine says, I'm a millennial and I don't understand what the hell Quibi is trying to do. Yeah, it's no good. All right. Now we're up for something very special once again. We are taking our top 5 to the top 10 1990s. Yes. Right. Another Strange Brew. That's 1980. That doesn't count.
Yep.
All right. This month we are going with Chris, Sal, Craig.
All right.
Oh, sweet.
Remember, top 10, no honorable mentions.
No honorable mentions. Which was again. Okay. Again, it was tough because the 90s had a lot.
I think the opposite. I think the 90s was terrible.
Really?
Yeah. I could have done 5 on it. Yeah, I could have done.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
All right, then.
I had a difficult time.
Yeah.
There's too many movies that had 4, 5, and 6 behind them. It's just, I don't know. I thought the 90s was a bad decade.
No, I thought there were a lot of great originals. Well, let's get kicked off on this list. We'll start with Chris.
There are some. Yes.
All right.
We'll see. Sure. We'll see what we run into here.
Yes.
My number 10, Needful Things, Stephen King adaptation. Great cast. One of my favorite Stephen King books. And I loved Max von Sydow as the
storekeeper.
Yeah. It was a really good movie. Like, it was a good movie. Like,
I know. I read the book as well, and Max von. It's what I sort of visualized the storekeeper.
Yes.
Between him and the guy from Something Wicked This Way Comes, you know what I mean? That's sort of the picture.
And I like the concept of people doing horrible things to each other to get what they want.
Now, why did that movie? I'm trying to think. what year was Something Wicked This Way Comes? It should have made one of my
1982.
Should have made my 80s. I don't know how
Disney owns the rights to it.
Yeah, but that's certainly it would have been probably close to the top for me for
Never
the
released on Blu-ray, limited edition DVD, and it's
and
difficult to tell to
such an
find because I've
awesome
been
movie.
trying to find it.
Such
Yeah.
an awesome movie. Yep.
All
Sorry.
right.
No, it's all right. It's cool. My number 9 is Tales from the Crypt, Demon Knight.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Billy Zane in that movie.
Dennis Miller too, or was Dennis Miller in that one?
No, he was in. So Tales from the Crypt had like I think 3 movies that
Bordello
came
of
out.
Blood.
Okay.
Yeah, that was the one with Dennis Miller, and it was a big drop from the quality of this one. I thought it was okay, but the practical effects in this one were awesome. Again, Billy Zane is like the head demon guy.
It was a great movie. Yeah.
And it was a really good cast too. There was a lot of good a lot of good actors and actresses in that, and the story was good too. You know, it was evil chasing good throughout history, and the original good was like Jesus' blood or whatever. I forget because it's been so long. But like I really and it had a great soundtrack too.
Nice.
Number 8, Candyman.
Okay.
Yeah.
Based off a Clive Barker short story.
Love
it was different. You know, it was kind of a different. I think because there was like a political message in that movie, and it was the first time that I
think it was like an urban horror too. It was like the first time somebody sort of did that. I think I don't know.
I think so. Yeah. I mean,
right?
I don't remember any of them from the 80s that dealt kind of with like with that kind of thing.
Something in the city. Yeah, I don't.
Right. Number 8, Arachnophobia.
Great movie.
Nice. Yep.
It's a great story. Like I'm not usually scared of spiders, but they were scary as shit in that movie.
Yeah.
And it was a good cast as well.
Yep.
Number 6, In the Mouth of Madness by John Carpenter.
Yeah.
Sam Neill. Yeah, Sam Neill. That was good.
And that movie, when I watched it, like blew my mind because it was basically an ode to Lovecraft.
Absolutely.
I mean, a lot of the Sutter Kane books in that were like loosely based off of Lovecraft books, and the thematics of the movie were like, you know, this slow build to, you know, insanity, which, you know, was Lovecraft, and the unspeakable horror was kind of like not the real horror. It was horrible because it was in the background and you never like fully see it.
You know, In the Mouth of Madness is one of those movies that not many people have seen for some reason.
I don't think it did as well like when it came out, and I think
it did not.
For me, it's one of John Carpenter's like better films, like, you know, which is it's tough to say that, but I thought it was a great movie.
Yeah.
Sam Neill did good horror too. I mean,
Sam Neill, he does some really good horror. Like he really does Descending into Madness well.
yes, he does.
And I when I was reading about this, because I like to like just check some stuff out about the movies I'm talking about. Ari Aster, who did Hereditary, and what was the other one we watched with Ari Aster? Hereditary and
Midsommar.
Yeah. It's one of his favorite movies. He was influenced by this movie, like his work. Yeah. And when you think of that, think about Hereditary, and it was kind of a descent into like madness kind of thing, you know? Yep. So, Number 5, Army of Darkness.
Okay.
You know, it's the trilogy of Evil Dead. Sam Raimi, Bruce Campbell. It was great. You know, like it was definitely more slapsticky and less.
Yeah, it was definitely the third
of the 3. Yeah, but it was still a great. It was a great. Well, at the time, it was the end of the.
You had to see it.
And I just like Sam Raimi's direction. You know. Number 4, Event Horizon. Going back to Sam Neill playing a guy that plays a good guy descending into madness.
Yeah, for sure.
And the same thing. This didn't do well when it first came out. It actually got panned by a lot of people who reviewed it back in the day. But I think it's a great movie.
I actually saw this one in the theater. Yeah.
And it because they're making that series on Netflix of it, so you know there must be something there, right? Like,
yeah.
Number 3, From Dusk Till Dawn.
Okay.
I think this has made a couple of my lists.
Yep.
It's a great movie. great special effect, practical effects.
Acting is
Oh,
really good
and
in it too.
and the
Yeah.
cast is phenomenal. It's
Oh,
got
awesome.
a great cast too, you know,
Come
and
on.
just the weird
Yeah.
combination of Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez, like how the movie just kind of splits in half, was great.
Yeah.
My number two, it's one of those ones that's borderline horror or psychological thriller, but it's one of those movies I watch probably once a year, and there's just so much like great stuff in this movie. Seven,
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Brad Pitt, and Morgan Freeman.
I would consider it a horror.
Yep.
You know, it's the seven deadly sins. The deaths
Yeah.
are pretty graphic. You
Oh,
know,
yeah.
they show.
Yeah, gluttony was pretty nasty, right?
Yeah. And so was Sloth, I think. Well, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, they were all. And then what was the Lust? Lust was
Oh
like
my God,
they don't.
that one was.
Yeah, when he shows him the piece that he made, Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the end. It's one of the probably the best end to a movie's like ever. Like there's
Yeah.
you know
What's in
there's
the
those end
box?
there's those end of movies. You're just like what the
Yeah.
so that's my number two. And this one my number one is Scream.
Okay.
It was at the point when I was kind of like tired of like the remakes of slasher movies.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it came out in '96, so the early '90s was like a lot of remakes and shit, you know. Like, and I was just like, ugh,
It's
man.
hard to make a good slasher film too, and they did a phenomenal job with it.
And
Right?
the idea was great, you know. Like, let's
Yep.
make fun of slasher films inside a
Yep.
slasher film, and it was
Yep.
just a really well written movie. And like we've talked about this before, killing off Drew Barrymore in like the very first like 5 minutes of the movie.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. That was different.
It's funny because they didn't want her to be that role, and she petitioned for it. Like she wanted to die right in the beginning.
Yeah, which helped to make the movie.
Yeah.
And they're working on a fifth one right now. So I mean,
And how tense was that? The scene. I mean, that first, what is it, 5 or 10? I mean, it was a long scene too.
Yeah.
I mean,
Was
how
really
tense was that? You're like just like gripping onto your seat.
And
like,
and the
man.
way it ends then, like with her mom screaming and them flashing on her disembodied like corpse
Yeah.
hanging from the tree.
Yeah.
And then that's when the scream flashes on the thing, and then it switches to like a completely different scene. But yeah, it's a great opening scene. So that's my top 10.
All right. It's good.
And I had some honorable mentions, but I know we said you can't.
That's right. All right. Very good. Let me give you my list. All right. My number 10 is In the Mouth of Madness. Oddly
Nice.
enough, I just got that collector's edition on Blu-ray. It came in the mail last Friday.
Awesome.
From Shout Factory.
And
it's
then,
one of those movies that I was telling my daughter how much I loved it back in the 90s, and I couldn't find it on any of these goddamn streaming services that I fucking pay for.
Yeah,
so
right.
So I found it on Shout Factory Collector's Edition Blu-ray, and I bought it, and I ripped it and made a digital copy myself.
Awesome.
Because it is a fantastic movie. Not just like the actors in it and the story and the filming, but the way how he fulfills his own destiny and completes the story. It's just a fantastic movie.
Yeah, it blows your mind, which is it's crazy. It's a movie about descending into madness. And when you're watching it, you're like, holy, I feel it.
Yeah,
it was great.
Very, very awesome. My number 9 is Army of Darkness.
Nice.
I have a very sentimental spot in my heart for all Evil Dead, and this one is no exception. This is one of the movies that I was happy to share with my kids once they were old enough to get into horror. This was like a soft introduction to horror movies. My number 8, Candyman.
Okay.
Great movie, and I'm really looking forward to the remake. I have a lot of high hopes for it.
Yeah, me too.
Let's hope it doesn't let us down.
But they made 2 sequels of that too, I think, right? There was I think there was
Yeah, there was.
That's correct, yeah.
Yeah.
But they were never as good as the first one.
And I think what's her face was in the second part again too.
Yep, that's correct. Yeah.
What's her name? Madsen? No.
Yeah. Virginia Madsen, right?
Virginia Madsen.
Yeah. Yep.
My number 7, Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Nice.
Okay.
Probably one of the best renditions of Dracula out of the many, 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 many Dracula movies
Yes.
that have been
Yes, it
created
was
Yeah,
over the many
well done for
decades.
sure. It
it
did
was good
pretty good
cinema.
in the box office too, right?
Yeah, yeah. My number
Good cast.
6, Frighteners.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
Again,
that's a good one.
this is one that I got my kids to watch early on when they first getting into horror movies. It is a little terrifying, especially if you're a younger crowd.
Towards the end, they got
Yep,
really.
absolutely.
Yeah.
But I thought it was really good, and I think Michael J. Fox did fantastic in that role.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Not only that, the psycho FBI guy, what the hell's his name? Who's in? He was originally in the Reanimator and such. Fantastic. My number 5, Event Horizon.
Nice.
1997, just a fantastic movie. And like I said, I have my collector's edition pre-ordered. So as soon as that ships, I'm gonna have that one too because I just love that movie.
Yeah, one of the cool things about that article too, if you should all go read it, but was when they were talking about the set and how the set, he kind of constructed the set based off images he took of St. Patrick's Cathedral,
Yes.
and the actors and actresses like loved working with him, but told him that like they got creeped out every time they came on the set because it felt like cavernous and echoey, like they were actually there. So that
Yeah.
was kind of cool.
Yep. Yeah, it's a great article. It's gonna be linked on the website. So anyone listening to the podcast here, if you have a good podcast viewer, the data is linked inside of the content of the podcast here. So if you have a good podcast software, like if you've got an iPhone, use Overcast. From there, while listening to this podcast, you can click on the links and see all the things we're talking about. My number 4, Interview with the Vampire.
That's a good one too.
I love the Anne Rice vampire series, and I was so excited when this came out, and I was so impressed by it. And then they continued to destroy everything with the following movie, and then they never made the third movie in the trilogy because it was just garbage. I really wish they would reboot the entire series. And as much as I love the original Interview with the Vampire, if they could get somebody to direct and commit to 3 movies, please reboot.
Yeah, I had heard so many bad things about the second one that I never actually even watched it myself.
It's garbage. It's garbage. It's not even worth your time.
Queen of the Damned, right? That was the sequel.
Yep. All right. My number 3, Night of the Living Dead, 1990 remake by Tom Savini.
That was a good one.
Now, the reason why I love this one, and everyone knows that I'm a big fan of Night of the Living Dead, okay? But I hated the blonde girl. She was a whiny, bitchy little. Even my daughter, when she watched it, she was like, "Why does she not answer his questions?" I'm like, "Well, it's partially because he's a man, partially because he's black, partially because she's a dumb cunt." But when Tom Savini remade it, he did an awesome job. He took that girl that was in that movie High Tension. I can't remember the redhead girl's name. High Tension was a great movie. But they took her and put her in that role and made her a strong female lead. Like she started out just like the
Yeah,
first
she was
girl,
like
kind of
short
whiny,
hair.
bitchy.
She had like
Yep,
short hair, red hair, right?
short
Yeah.
red hair. Yep, and then she kind of just like became the leader of the pack. Like she didn't have a problem handling a gun, didn't have a problem nailing up the doors. He did such a great job in taking really the whole movie scene for scene and rebuilding it with her as a better character and the special effects ever so slightly better.
Yeah.
It was a great remake, and that's why it's my number 3. My number 2, From Dusk Till Dawn.
Tony Todd was in that one too, right? The remake.
That's right. That's correct.
Okay.
My number 2 is
From
From
Dusk
Dusk
Till
Till Dawn.
Nice.
Again, great movie. Surprise twist in the movie.
Yeah.
And the fact that it starts out with this great Quentin Tarantino character. The Quentin Tarantino movies are great. I recently saw this meme that somebody posted that had Quentin Tarantino with an interviewer, and the interviewer saying, "Oh my God, Kill Bill is such a violent movie. I can't believe it." And then Quentin Tarantino says, "Yeah, it's a Tarantino movie. You don't go to a Metallica concert
right?
and ask them to turn it fucking down." And I'm like, you know what? That's perfect.
Yeah. The opening scene of that movie is great too. The back and forth between the guy behind the register and the Texas Ranger.
Well, and the great thing about it is Tarantino does this all the time. He does the thing that Alfred Hitchcock used to always talk about. He said, "Look, if you have a movie and a bomb goes off under a table, it's a jump scare. But if you show the audience the bomb under the table with a counter counting down while people are sitting at the table having a conversation, you build massive amounts of tension."
It's true.
And that's what Dust to Dawn was so good at. There were so many scenes where, as the audience viewer, you knew the guy with the gun is under the counter.
Right.
And having a conversation with the sheriff, and you're thinking, oh my God, if he loses his shit and kills this guy, it's going to be insane. Just the amount of tension that he's capable of building up in that movie is just great.
Yeah.
And my number one, which has been on almost every list that we've ever done till now, Dead Alive.
Yeah, I still haven't seen that movie.
Oh yeah, I have to see it, Chris.
I can't find it anywhere.
As soon as you get off with this, you gotta.
I wonder, and I knew you guys were gonna have that on your lists. And I was like, I can't put Dead Alive. I've never seen it.
Yeah.
But
yes,
I can't find it. I can't find it anywhere. I want to watch it.
Yeah, I think last month, was it last month, or we previously talked about a great article that goes into the depth of that movie, and it's called Following. Just a great movie. And especially considering
I think it's on Amazon Prime, Chris.
I don't think it is.
No.
I don't think it is.
I don't know.
I don't think
Double check. All right.
I'm saying unless they just put it on there, because I keep an eye out for that.
All right.
Yeah. So that's my top 10.
But check tonight.
Top 10. That's a good top 10.
Yeah. Thank you. Craig.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Number 10, I went with Army of Darkness.
Nice.
Again, the third movie. I think we talked enough about that.
That's the bad thing about going third.
Yeah, I know.
Same stuff. It's like, hey, we talked about that. Keep going.
Number 9, I went with The Sixth Sense.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
That made a lot of money too, right? For a horror flick.
Yeah, I think one time it was like the highest, right? Maybe.
For several weeks in a row, I think it was the number one.
Yep. Everybody knows about the ending. That's what makes that movie so great.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know what's even better than that? What's her name that played the mom? She also was in Hereditary. What was her name?
Oh, yeah. Colette?
Yeah. She didn't even realize it was a horror movie while she was filming it. Yep. I read an interview with her where she said she had no idea that it was a horror movie. She thought it was a drama, and she signed up for it. She filmed in it, and
she mustn't have read the last page, right?
Yeah, not until halfway through filming did she realize that she was in a horror movie.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yep. Number 9, a little soft, but I went with I Know What You Did Last Summer.
That's a great movie.
Yeah,
that's a classic teen slasher. I mean,
no, I know. Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, it's bubblegum, but
nothing wrong with that.
No, I had a good story,
and it had some attractive young ladies.
Absolutely, a lot of the lookers at the time, right?
Indeed.
Number 7, you guys may have heard of it. It's a movie called Hardware.
Yes.
I do not know that one. Nope.
Yes, I've seen it.
It's about a robot that kills people. It's kind of neat. It was good, and it had a really good soundtrack. It had like Public Image Limited and stuff like that.
Oh, sweet.
This was a VHS. That's where I saw it. It was from a
Oh,
video
okay.
store. It had a really cool cover. I was like, I got to check this movie out, and I watched it, and it was like, wow.
Yeah, I don't know that
Pleasantly
one.
surprised. So yeah, put it on your list. It's called Hardware. Really good movie. Good story. Like I said, it's about a robot that kills people.
That's very good.
Another one you may not have heard of, number 6 on my list, is a movie called Lost Highway.
Yeah,
It was
that's a good one too.
David Lynch. It was a David
Yeah, I
film.
think I did hear that one, but I don't know if I've seen it.
It was
I know
with
what you're talking about.
Robert Blake played the creepiest dude
Yeah.
in that movie.
Well, the thing
Bill
remember
Pullman's in it. The Arquette girl, I can't remember her name.
Yeah, I do remember seeing
Not
the like
those
trailers
names.
and stuff for that one. I don't
Oh
remember
yeah.
seeing it though.
If you get a chance, again, another one, put on your list. It's really
It
good.
was Suzanne Arquette.
Susanna, yeah.
Yeah. Let me
The
tell you,
younger
that
sister.
was on my notepad because I literally wrote down 35 movies from the 90s.
Yeah,
Just had
I
me
had about
narrowed
20.
down to 10. Yeah.
I had about
Wow.
20.
But yeah, my brother-in-law like turned it on because he like, he's like, if you saw Blue Velvet and you like, because it's a David Lynch film, he's like, dude, he's like, you got to see this movie called Lost Highway. So
Yeah.
like I rented it and it was like, dude.
It's a classic.
Yep, for sure. Number 5, I had Silence of the Lambs.
Nice,
Again,
nice.
another one that was on my list too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Honorable mention.
Yeah, there you go. That's how you get them in, Chris, right?
Yeah. Honorable mention.
Number 4, I had Arachnophobia.
There you go.
I think these are all probably already said. Number 3, I had Dead Alive. Chris.
Yeah.
We're going to start berating you on every episode now. Every time we
I
do this, we're
can't-
just going to spend 5 minutes berating you for not seeing it yet.
I can't see it. I can't find it anywhere.
Like I said, try to go on Amazon Prime. I think I said maybe.
I've looked, dude. I swear, unless it just recently came up.
Yeah. Number 2, I had Scream. We talked a lot about that movie. How awesome the beginning was, and it was Wes Craven.
Yep.
He writes good
The master
stories.
of horror.
Yep, for sure. And number 1, I had The Frighteners.
Nice.
My number 1.
Made it up to
Dude,
number
that
one.
was such a great movie.
I had that
It was
as
a
my
good
number 1.
concept. It was a good concept. Like,
It was like no other movie. You know what I mean?
Right.
It was totally original, and that's what I liked about it. And like I said,
Yeah.
I think Jake Fox did such an awesome job at
it was a
it. You know,
different
it's
role
like
for him.
Well,
it
that's
was.
the thing is, it was a casting decision that you wouldn't expect to be great.
Right.
Yeah, and I didn't see the end. You know, it got really, like I said, it got really dark at the end. You're like, holy smokes, and you didn't see, what was coming, sort of. I mean, yeah, you really didn't. I didn't.
Yeah. And then every time that demon, like the spirit of them,
And the effects, like the effects of the demon, and that was sort of for its time. I don't remember what year that was done. Was it late? It was like 97 or something, maybe, right? But
yeah, it was.
But the effects, it was like it was like early, sort of good special effects, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, for CGI, I think, right?
Well, you think about it, the texture mapping stuff they did to show the spirit, like under the wallpaper,
The carpet, and
yeah.
Yep. For sure.
1996. So that was pretty early on for computer.
Oh yeah,
effects,
remember?
so
Yeah, he was like
good.
popping out of the wall.
Yeah.
Right. He was like coming out of the wall. It was like that was really cool stuff. Yep.
That's a good list.
Awesome. Great. This is a great top 10 list. It's just fantastic as always. And I think what we should be doing from this is I have this great idea that we should put together the American Nightmare podcast listeners' top 10 must-see films. I think I'd like to compile our list and see where we agreed or repeated the movies throughout our themes and come up with a top 10 must-see list for all our listeners.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, damn.
I'm gonna make it easy. I'm just go into the database of all of our top 10 lists and just whatever ones appear the most.
Which ones ever got mentioned?
Yep, whatever is mentioned the most, we'll count those down as the top 5 from the most mentions. Yeah.
Although you have mentioned, I think almost every episode, All the Devils Are Here, because that seems to get like listened to more than anything else. So this algorithm is going to screw up and put that in like the top 10.
Yeah.
and I just added it now too. So
Yeah, the funny thing about all that is this freaking. I just looked, every week before we record, I like to look and see what the numbers look like for listening and the top episodes and everything. All the Devils Are Here has moved even further up to the top of the list. It's so far ahead of all the rest. Listen,
that is bizarre.
225 individual listeners.
Wow.
This
It's
dude
been
must be telling all of
downloaded.
his friends that his movie's being talked about on a podcast.
Right. Listen, it's been downloaded 300 times. That episode got downloaded 300 times with 225 individual listeners. That tells me that some of our listeners have listened to that episode more than once.
Wow.
It's that dude's mom.
Yeah.
That's
man.
crazy.
I know. Every time I.
But that's why it's so popular, because it's like so like ridiculous. You know what I mean?
Maybe.
I would watch it again.
How many people are going to download this episode every week? Every week I look at it and go, oh my God, why are more people listening to this?
Yeah.
Because we keep talking about it.
Yeah, look at this. In
Exactly.
August, here we are.
Yeah,
here we
we're
are
talking
for the
about
month
stuff.
of August. We're just coming up at the end of August.
Yeah.
All the Devils Are Here was recorded May 20th, 2018. In the month of August alone, 25 downloads. Seriously. In July, 51 downloads.
What?
In June, 67 downloads.
Wow.
That's insane.
That's crazy. Yeah.
It's
I don't
a
understand
horrible
that.
movie. Who searches for that movie and then listens to our podcast? That's what I want to know.
I don't know. Huh.
Listen, if it drives people to our podcast, great.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, that's great.
Every month, though, I look at it. I'm looking at the database right now. I'm just looking at the top 3 months, and I'm looking at the lifetime views. Number 1, All the Devils Are Here, 225 listens over the lifetime. The Babysitter, 218 listens.
That was such a great Netflix movie.
Yep.
It really was. Just Getting Started, that was our first episode, 175 listens. Pet Cemetery, 155. Midsommar, 130.
Yeah, exactly.
The Loved Ones, 125 listens. And then Us, 81.
That's surprising, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because Us was kind of a complex movie, and you sort of had to really think about you know what I mean? You had to think about the movie, the ending of it and stuff. It was like, yeah. So
Yeah.
just surprised people weren't going to listen for, some of the reactions on why things happened at the end,
Yeah.
I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yep. I got you. I know what you mean.
Okay. So this month, our movie review is Climax, filmed in 2019. This is a French art film.
Art is a good word. Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and start. Who picked this movie, first of all?
I did.
Craig did.
So for all of our listeners, if you're going to listen to this review and then you decide to go watch this movie, you can blame Craig, and I will give you his email so you can send him hate mail.
Yeah, but the weird thing is it got like great reviews on like Rotten Tomatoes and IBM
Rotten Tomatoes.
Sorry.
Rotten Tomatoes viewers give it a 66%, and Rotten Tomato actual reviewers, actual critics, give it a 69%.
Yeah, IMDb gave it like a 7.1, and I'm like, usually, like anything around a 6 is decent for IMDb, and they gave it a 7.1.
I read like other people that reviewed it and everyone's got the thing.
It happens. The
first 45 minutes is basically a dance scene.
No, the first 55 minutes. I clocked it.
That was my problem with the movie, because do you want to explain the story first? I guess we should.
That shouldn't take long.
Craig, do a quick summary of what the movie is really about.
So there's a French dance school, and they bring all these students in for rehearsal they're all over Berlin, Europe, France,
America.
Yep. Some Americans in there, yeah.
Some Americans. Yeah. Yep. So they're at this dance studio and they're rehearsing. I think they're on their last day, so they're all excited. So they have this scene where they're, and it just takes forever. I'm watching. And don't get me wrong, it was kind of cool, the music.
I didn't mind it. Like I didn't mind that, but I'm like,
but towards the end of it, I'm like, okay, stop dancing,
Yeah.
And then so when they're done rehearsing, they're like, they stop for a little bit, and they're getting refreshments and drinking and eating, and then they start dancing some more. I'm like,
let's take a break from dancing to go dance.
And that's where I was like, all right, this is not going anywhere fast.
There was credits through the middle of the movie, and I'm like, wait, did this movie end or what?
So there's a reason for that.
Just to be clear, when we get to the point of the movie where they start flashing the artist names on the screen, Daft Punk, some of the other bands, we're 55 minutes into the fucking movie already.
No, but they used to put credits. I think it's trying to be too artsy. So old movies, they used to roll the credits in the beginning of the movie.
Right.
So I think
it's in the middle.
But this is 55 minutes in, bro.
No, I know. I
First of all,
I was like, is it over? I didn't see anything. And then it kept going.
So somebody put acid in the sangria, and everybody, well, not everybody was drinking it, but like only a handful of people, or like 2 or 3 people didn't drink it.
Yeah.
So and then they start tripping their balls off, and things go batshit crazy.
Yeah.
Which I thought was kind of cool when that started, but it was towards the end of the movie.
It was the general premise of the movie. It's a little over an hour, and what was it like? Almost 2 hours. It was just almost a 2-hour movie.
Yeah.
The first 55 minutes. Listen to me. This is not a good movie because
I know I was ready to turn it off too.
I wanted to turn it off. I wanted to turn it off several times.
Plus, you have to read the fucking subtitle. I know, and it made it more painful because you had to read the subtitle. Thank God there was the people from Berlin spoke English.
Well, and luckily they didn't do a whole lot.
And towards the end, you didn't need any kind of dialogue, which was good.
I felt more anxious than anything towards the end of the movie with the camera angles. And
it did make you feel anxious, and I think, like I said, unfortunately it was too late, but I think they hit it pretty good at the end.
But I think for the wrong reason. I think I was so anxious for the movie to end. Like I was waiting and waiting and waiting for the horror to happen, and then it just got like even weirder. And then I kept like, is this over yet? Is this like what? Like, and then the music and it got louder. Yeah. Like, and then there was like a siren towards the end that just like I was like, oh Jesus, now we got a siren going too.
And I hated that. It was like a droning sound. But let me just say, like 10, 15 minutes into the movie, I'm already looking at my watch, and I'm like, seriously, dude? And I went and grabbed a beer. I grabbed a beer. And
I thought it looked good too, though, Craig. I thought it looked good too.
Yeah. I grabbed a beer. I grabbed a doobie. I grabbed some edibles. And I thought, you know what? I'm just gonna try to enjoy the movie.
So that didn't help at the end.
No, it didn't fucking help at all.
No.
Let me.
All right.
The thing about it is, like, I was so annoyed that like it's just dancing, and I'm like, all right, the music kind of sucks. I'm not into this music.
Yeah.
The dancers aren't really like exceptionally hot, right? There were a couple
Their
girls.
Dancing was good though. It was good dancing. If I wanted to watch a dancing movie,
right. And then again, as soon as the names of the bands started coming up, I paused the movie and I look at the timer and I'm like, dude, 55 minutes we've been watching people dance.
Yep.
The thing is, in that time, I would have expected character development.
Something.
I would have expected something to make me invested in the characters. And there was nothing.
Other than the 55 minutes you just wasted.
Right. There was some very loose conversations going on in the middle of all that. But because you had to read subtitles and the conversations were kind of bouncing around between different individuals, it was very disconnected.
Yep.
And there was too many people.
I didn't feel anything for any of those characters.
No, there's except for the kid. The only person I cared about was that kid who got locked in that electric room.
And that was it. Empathy for being a parent because they didn't even develop that fucking relationship.
No, she tucked him in the bed and said, "Good night, sweetheart. I love you."
Yeah, it was basically it was just because I was a dad. Then I'm like, oh my god, you locked the fucking kid in the electrical closet. What's the problem?
Yeah.
But that was like the only scene that was like pretty intense. You know what I mean? Like it's like
There's that scene where the girl pissed all over the floor that was pretty intense too.
That was kind of funny. Actually, that was the funny part. I'm standing there and I'm going, wait a minute, is she pissing on the ground? Because at first it's like a little trickle, and then it's a full blast of piss.
Yeah, it is.
And people are
she's just
standing there
looking.
Going,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my god, though, that part.
And
was
the guy hammering. I don't know which girl it was, but the guy hammering.
Yeah, at the end. Well, that's the thing is, first of all, this is where the movie wins, if you can call it a win, is that you get frustrated with all the dancing, right? It goes on for 55 minutes. Then you see the band names. You're getting this disconnected conversations between everyone. Suddenly they allude to the fact that somebody tainted the punch. And you're not sure at first, like, is it LSD? Is it poison? And then someone says, no, it's LSD. And really, you don't even find out until the end that it's actually LSD.
And then you couldn't even really tell who it was that did it. It was that one girl, but I couldn't remember who she was.
Yeah,
well, she was the blonde at the beginning.
She's the one that pissed on the floor.
Right.
But why did she do it?
Because she's a fucking freak. I mean, she basically had a book about LSD.
No, if you remember the interview, if you remember the interview, she said she left Berlin because people were doing
in their eyes.
Yeah.
But that's what she was doing.
Yeah, exactly.
At the end, they leave the scene. She's got an LSD book on the bed next to her, and she's putting eye drops of LSD in her eyes.
Maybe they made her leave. Maybe she said I left because it was her that was putting it in, so they made her leave.
Yeah, I don't know. Whatever.
But the thing about it is, like, the only win, like I said, for the film is.
So who was out in the snow too? Was that the pregnant girl?
No, that was the dude that kicked out.
Okay.
Remember the scene where there was like a fight and they were.
Yeah. So they showed you that.
They accused him of doing the LSD, so they made him leave.
Right. And then he pushed him out the doors, and then he wound up freezing outside. Because remember, it's winter while this party is going on.
No, but there was a girl.
Oh, that girl at the beginning. The girl at the beginning who was running through the snow.
Yeah.
And then it flashed back to like the beginning. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't remember who she.
I was just so anxious for it to end that I.
No,
Well, that's what I'm trying to get to is with the wind, where the only real win in this film is they irritate the fuck out of you. They make you anxious, waiting for something to happen. When people do finally start losing their shit and going out of their mind, the camera flips into this mode where it's upside down most of the time. And that creates this sense of anxiety that was irritating. It wasn't like I'm scared.
No,
it's more of I'm irritated and anxious by.
Yeah, you're like turning your head sideways, trying to figure out who the people.
And then the techno music is still going on, and that siren goes off.
Yes, and then even when the cops arrive at the end, and the camera's upside down like the whole fucking time.
See, I wish they would have done that too. I wish they would have showed the cops like approaching each individual, so you could see how fucked up, what happened to them.
Well, I mean, they showed some of them.
Like the chick that got her hair burned, like she was in the sink, and that was kind of, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, the fire effects were dumb, but she was in the sink, like rinsed in the back of her head. The girl that locked the kid in the closet was dead. She killed herself in front of the door. There were people like laying in their own vomit. And that's the other thing too. What is scary about LSD? Even if you took a massive dose of it and had a freak out, do you think that many people would turn out dead? I highly doubt it.
They wouldn't have that many bad trips. That's what I'm saying. Like only a few people would have bad. Most people would be like happy, and you know what I mean? Like
exactly.
So that's where the title of the movie ends up coming from.
Well, there was a few happy. Remember that one guy just kept dancing the whole movie. Yeah. He was happy.
Yeah. That's where the title of the movie ends up coming from, though, right? It's Climax.
Yeah. Yep.
So you're so anxious that like you want it to end, and you just keep waiting and waiting and waiting for it to end, and then finally it does, and you have like this relief, like this, like oh thank God, like the climax.
Explosion.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Relief. It's an explosion of relief from the movie being over.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. That is exactly correct. I was relieved when the movie ended. And then I stopped once it was over and they finished the scenes. I turned it off and I'm like, fuck that shit.
I was like, I watched the entire thing because we were going to review it, and we weren't together to agree to turn it off. So I was like, I gotta power through. But I seriously paused it like every 2 or 3 minutes to see how much time was left. When we got to like the last 20 minutes, I'm like, is this over yet?
And then when I found out it was subtitled in French, I was going to change the movie too, but I should have.
Hey, you know what though?
I didn't.
you know what? Like, we're
It's
gonna
gonna
get some of
happen.
those, and
gonna happen.
Yeah,
we shouldn't just review ones we know we're gonna like.
Yeah, and that's what
But
the
a lot of
reviews
people
are about.
apparently
It's
like
not,
this movie.
yeah. Well,
I don't know.
that's the thing. So once we finished watching it, right, I decided I want to see what other people said about it because I fucking hated it. So I
Yep.
was like, there has to be people that like this, and there were a lot of people that liked it.
Yeah,
But I
a
think they
lot.
liked it for the wrong reasons. They said, "Oh, this is like a French cinematic spectacle, a fantastic art film." I'm like, really? Like, what the fuck? Like, French cinema has a history of being fucking special, but this was
Yeah.
not it.
Yeah. I mean, I could take a dump on a garbage can lid and smear it around with my hand, and it's not Picasso.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So with that, I'm gonna give it 1 star out of 5.
Wow.
See, I toil with this because I'm a good person by nature, and I don't like to give really bad reviews.
Everybody's a winner.
Yeah.
You goddamn
I was-
tree hugging liberal.
Participation trophy.
All right, so I'm gonna go with. I was gonna give it a 2, but you gave it a 1. I'm gonna go 1.5.
There we go.
1.5.
All right.
I'll give it the 1.5 is good for me too, Al.
All right, then we'll slap it with a 2 out of 5. Just to be fair. We'll give it a 2 out of 5. Just to be nice.
See, now you're okay.
There's nothing fair about. I mean, the people. I mean, there's a fine line between 1.5 and 2. So 2. Your Sal's right. It's like 2.
Yeah, right.
2's
Is it
easier
1.5 plus 1.5 plus 1?
2's easy. Yeah, whatever. Just give it 2. Because
all right. But
here's the way I look at it. If you like cheesy art films.
So what did we give the other one that was really bad?
All the Devils Are Here. I think we gave that a 2 or 2.5.
Okay.
You know
I believe.
let me open up. I've got the website right here in front of me.
That at least had elements of horror, and that black dude was pretty funny. The guy that was in the truck with him.
Yeah.
We gave that. Oh wow. This is before we started giving ratings, apparently, because we basically said we gave it a review.
Okay.
Well, we turned it off before it was over. So
yeah, we basically reviewed 2 movies during this episode. We did All the Devils Are Here, and we said it was trash, and stopped watching it halfway through, and then we watched A Quiet Place instead. So we reviewed A Quiet Place.
So I would say if we turned it off and called it trash, it was probably like a 1 or 2.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So yeah, I mean, I'm fine with what. Like I said, it doesn't matter. But
I thought the trailers looked pretty good too, but I expected those were like.
It was misleading.
Yeah,
sure.
I was expecting and I was like, that was the entire movie.
And like I said, IMDb, I'm usually pretty loyal to their ratings, and they had a 7.1 on that sucker, and that's pretty high.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. It's not my kind of film. Like,
no, not at all.
Nope.
Well, and like you said, the trailer focused on the dancing very little, but showed some of the more significant freakouts.
Yeah.
So you kind of felt like, oh, this movie's going to be awesome. It was not.
No, it was not.
All right. Awesome. That's another episode in the bag, ladies and gentlemen.
Ka-ching. Bags don't make that kind
of. We just want to follow up here once again, like we always do, with a little bit of
love for the listeners.
Love for the listeners. We want to take a moment to thank all the listeners of the American Nightmare podcast, because we're doing this just for our own entertainment. The fact that you're here along for the ride is fun and great.
Yeah.
We definitely want more feedback. Again, we're looking for ideas for future movies to review, future top 10 or top 5 lists that you'd like to hear from. And give us some general feedback. Tell us that we suck. Give us some hate mail, whatever.
Not too much, though. I'm sensitive.
Yeah. Feedback at the-american-nightmare.com. Also, check out our website at the-american-nightmare.com, or check us out on Facebook. And I believe I just created a new Twitter account for us.
Oh, sweet.
That is TAN podcast, at TAN podcast. the American Nightmare Podcast. So we have a Twitter account now, where mostly you use that to get news and follow some other stuff, but we'll post some things on there. So please follow us on Twitter.